The misconception is that being a gentleman is just about being polite or courteous to women. In actuality, to be a true gentleman means that you have respect for your fellow man, so it encompasses man and women. Style is something that you evolve into. It's about your personality. It's about how you live your life. Welcome to the Gentleman of Style Show. I'm your host, Creech. My man Baldwin is on vacation today, so I'm going to be rolling solo, but I got a very, very special guest for everyone. All right, so this guy that I'm bringing to the stage who's going to sit down and chop it up with me. I've known him for a while, seen his journey. He's a business professional, entrepreneur. He's an actor. He's a songwriter. Once upon a time was a singer. I mean, this guy's done a lot of different things, so it should be a really, really good conversation, and you guys should learn a lot about what's going on with this guy. So, without further ado, as we like to say, welcome to the Gentleman of Style Show, the one, the only, Mr. Terrence Creech. All right. First of all, man, thank you. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule to sit down with me, chop it up, have a good conversation with me, and kind of let people get to know you a little bit. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you having me, no doubt. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's start with this. For those people who don't know who Terrence Creech is, kind of give them a little background, let them know where you're from, where you grew up, give them a little bit of that background. So, to get into that, it's kind of a multifaceted thing I have to put together is because, one, I was born in Smithfield, North Carolina at the hospital because Clayton, North Carolina, which is where I'm from, did not have a hospital at the time. And so, hence, in Clayton, you have to go to Smithfield to be born. So, but I was actually raised in Clayton, North Carolina. Yeah. That's where, I spent my youth at, and where I learned the first things that you learn as a young man. And so that's kind of my origin story. And then I moved from there to Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where, I got my education and kind of learned the streets and all that stuff. So growing up in well, basically having both, the best of both worlds, I guess you could say. So growing up in the country and then making the transition into the city, how was that transition for you? The transition for me, I think, was fine because I had spent a lot of time in Raleigh. I had a lot of family in Raleigh, and a lot of people that lived in Clayton either moved to Raleigh or they commuted from Raleigh. So I had a opportunity to spend a lot of time in Raleigh. So it wasn't a big transition for me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, ain't nothing like having the best of both worlds. So if you had to choose, would you choose the city or would you choose the country? That's kind of a hard question to answer just because the city and the country made me. It's who I am, part of who I am. So it's really hard to choose to take one piece of yourself away. Yeah, the question was if you had to choose. Sure. Yeah, so I wouldn't choose. Those are two big parts of who I am. So I'm comfortable with both, and I love both. So yeah, that's who I am. Right. Okay. Being in, I guess, coming from a rural town or coming from the country and then getting into the city, what was it like in terms of, I guess, that education piece of it for
Well,
you?
I didn't go to school
Oh,
in
okay,
Clayton. I got
okay,
all my education from Enlow High School,
okay.
basically. Um,
Shout
yeah,
out to
so
Hello High School.
Enlow was kind of where I got the majority of my education. Other than, I mean, of course, I went to middle school and elementary school in Raleigh as well. But that's where that bigger piece of my education came from.
Right.
Those formidable years. I had the best of both worlds.
So was Enlo? Well, let me ask this: is Enlo where you decided that entertainment was going to be your thing, or that you wanted to get into entertainment? Was that kind of the catalyst or the thing that projected you to say, yeah, I want to do entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think it was a very big piece. I got a little bit of that from being in the church choir. I think Enlo was kind of like the bigger catalyst of it all. It kind of pushed me and propelled me to want to do it because of how the school was and the entertainment value that you had within the school. So yeah, I think that's where I look back and I can say that's where the a big piece of the foundation came. So I, I, I do credit them with a lot of me wanting to do it.
Yeah, I heard about the air guitar. Definitely heard about it.
Yeah,
One of the biggest things that was in Raleigh during
yeah,
that time.
air
Yeah.
guitar was one of the biggest things that there was. It was like the Grammys and the Academy Awards for high school. Everybody wanted to be a part of it and wanted to see it and attend it.
Right.
So things like that again is what kind of propelled me and pushed me to 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 want to do entertainment or to do things. Yeah,
Oh, it's like that.
it was one of the greatest things
Wow.
that anybody had really seen in this area. So yeah, shout out to air guitar. You know.
And did you do any other, anything else in entertainment, plays, or anything like that growing up?
Yeah, I did a few plays when I was in middle school. A couple of actually they were musicals. I actually had to sing in some of that, and then I also was in the church choir, in the youth choir. So I did that.
Yeah, I think all of us sang in the choir at some point in time. That was, you know, that southern thing.
Yep,
You
absolutely.
were from the deep south or from the south. Chances are you
Chances
probably
are,
sang in somebody's choir. Now, how long you sang in it, who
right.
knows? But chances are you
Some
right.
point.
You probably sang in the choir at some
Absolutely
point.
right. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Now, gotta ask this question: do you remember any of the songs from when you were in
Oh
the youth
man,
choir?
so now you put me on the spot. Yeah, I do. I mean, I do. I keep those things with me.
Oh, I'm gonna put you to the test. So, which song do either that you remember or was your favorite? Give us a little bit of one of the songs you used to
Oh
sing all the
God,
time.
here you go, man. Let's
Of course, I had to put you on the
yeah,
spot. Come
yeah,
on, man.
on the
You know
spot.
that.
Let me see.
Come on.
Let me see what I got. Come along, my friend, come along, get aboard and ride this train. There ain't nothing on this train to lose, but everything to gain. Come along, my friend, come along, get aboard and ride this train. There ain't nothing on this train to lose, everything to gain.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you had me humming over here. I know that joint. I know that joint very well. Had me humming over here. That takes me back. It's a
Absolutely.
childhood thing, so that does take me back to
It
the youth
is.
choir. Shout out to my man
Shout
Scope
out
out
Scope,
there.
no
I
doubt.
remember, back in the day. That was one of those songs. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, yeah. So with all of that kind of does give you a background in entertainment. So when did you know at that point, leaving high school, when did you know, hey, I want to be in entertainment?
At that point I didn't know. I
Oh,
think
really?
when I
Okay.
left high school, I went to the Marine Corps, and then when I came back from the Marine Corps, my whole thing was going to college. I wanted to go to North Carolina
Hmm.
A&T State University, so Aggie Pride. But that was where my focus was. That's where I wanted to be. And so before I got there, I had a pit stop in Lewisburg because I didn't have a geometry credit. Couldn't stand geometry.
Oh, shout out to Lewisburg.
So I had
Okay.
to go down there, and then once I got down there, again had to focus and get myself right, and then I went on to A&T, and once I got to A&T, I think that's kind of where it started.
Right.
I think that was where I started to breathe a little bit of the energy of singing and R&B because a lot of groups were coming out and the girls loved them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they would the
Yeah, I
yeah
remember. I can honestly say I remember during that time, a lot of the male singing groups or the boy
yeah
bands or whatever you
hmm
want to call it back then, they were coming out and everything was just so R&B and everything
everything
was just so
everything
fly. The
yeah
clothes, the lyrics,
it
and
was
it
it was a
just yeah,
movement
it
yeah
was it was all
yeah
for the
all
ladies
about the
back then,
women all
right?
about the
Yeah,
ladies
I
so
remember that.
yeah so that's kind of where I was.
Right.
I wanted to be in that circle and in that space and doing that thing. I wanted to evolve that.
All right. So now you're in
Mhm.
college. You've kind of got you've got the entertainment bug, or now you want to get back into the
Yeah, a
singing
little
part
bit.
of it. What is the what do you do? I mean, how do you kind of how do you maneuver your way into to getting into to the singing or the group thing?
I copy a bunch of flyers and put them around A&T's campus.
Wait a minute, hold on. So basically, you put up a bunch of flyers around campus and decided this is going to be a group.
Yeah,
Bold move. But go on.
yeah.
All
For the
right.
most part, that's what I did. I decided I wanted a singing group. I took a bunch of I copied a bunch of flyers. I put them in the calf and male dorms and all around the campus. And I said, hey, if you want to be in a singing group, come see me at my room, sign up,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's what I did.
What was the name of the group? So what was the name of the first group?
The name of the group is called First Impression.
First
Uh,
Impression.
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah,
All
it
right.
was, it was called First Impression, and the reason for that was because you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Ah, okay. True, true. You only get a
Um,
chance to make one first impression. All right. Okay.
yeah,
I'm
so
feeling you now. That takes me back. That makes sense. All right.
you know,
Give you a little context. All right. Okay.
so pretty much that's how everything came to be. I had a bunch of
Right.
people that signed up, and I went and I visited them when they came back, and the
Oh,
second
okay.
second person on the list, the third I think was my boy Jeff Turner, my partner in crime at that point in time, and we kind of tried to put this thing together, and we did. It was fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Music was a little. It definitely was different in terms of how you got into things back then.
Yeah.
So doing music and how you got the music out there,
hmm
needing a record deal or a record label to push you and make sure that you get to, you get national or get around the world with the music. So definitely was a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a different time for me. So it was, trying to figure it out how to get it done, how to put things out, and
Okay.
we just did what we knew to do, and hustle and
So
tried
now
to.
the group is done. I'm
Yeah.
guessing at this point. Fast forward a little bit. So now your group is done.
hmm
What do you do next? Is it okay? No more entertainment for you, or do you just move on to the next thing?
Well, kind of move on to the next thing. We still wanted to do music. Myself and Jeff, we
Oh,
became
okay. All right,
became
I got you.
partners, and,
So that,
and
now, was this the
decided to
first
manage.
time you had done any type of management?
Yeah, it was the first time that I've gotten into management at all, and since I had a partner in Jeff, it was a little
Right.
bit
Okay.
easier to kind of broker those things together, and the hustle was easy because it was two of us, and we had the opportunity to work with some talented hip hop artists, and we believed in what they were doing, so it was kind of one of those things. It was like, okay, well, let's try to. We couldn't get to that level. Let's try to help somebody else get to that level. And so that's what we did. We put our efforts into managing. And it has its ups and its downs, and it's it's up, it's craziness because dealing with artists, it's a hard thing to do at times. But we did what we could and did our best in that realm, and tried our best to be good managers and make sure that our artists had what they needed. And again, it was a different time and a lot of different things you have to do and hustle
Now
and get going.
let me chime in just for a second. So at this point, you are exclusively doing hip hop now, because I'm hearing, you know, going from
Well,
one piece of managing acts to a, a whole nother, uh, not really managing, but putting together the record label, but it's mainly hip hop. So is this where you transitioning to that on purpose, or is this what is the reason with that?
Well, yeah, the record label piece of it comes from, and all of that came from hip hop. Hip hop was forming that way. Everything was moving into a hip hop realm.
Right.
So
You're
forming a
right.
record
Hip
label,
hop had taken that
right?
next
So
jump by that time.
yeah,
So
so
it
all
makes
of
sense,
that
right?
was the movement. So we kind of moved into the movement, and that was the way of how things were getting done.
Right.
Hip hop was the biggest thing going, and hip hop artists were being successful. And so we had a female singer in the mix, but hip hop was what people and the labels wanted. So
Now that you've made this run, so you've done the gone through the musical group, doing the singing thing, doing the management thing. Now you're doing the independent label things. You've made different progressions and different steps. At this point, do you decide I'm done with music? Music's done with me. What is your mind frame at this point when it comes to music or even entertainment in general? At that point,
I mean, I wasn't done. I don't think I've ever decided I wanted to be done. It was just something had to come through that made sense for me to want to do, and that had a chance to be
so you
successful.
always knew you would come back to it,
Yeah,
or you felt like it would come around again.
I did. I always felt like there would be something or an opportunity for me to do something in entertainment or within music at some point in time. It just had to be the right opportunity, the right situation, and I just didn't know what it was. And I know even getting into the record label and merging with Sean Starks to do our joint venture together. That was another opportunity, and I mean I couldn't pass it up. Shout out to Sean Starks, but I just wanted to make sure that again, when opportunities came about, if it was a good opportunity, then I was going to take it. So yeah, so I wasn't done. I just hadn't found the next thing that made sense for me to do at that point in
Now,
time.
at this point, so you've done a lot of the music part, well, the biggest part of your music career. Is that over and done at that point, or are you putting it on pause? What is your mind frame when it comes to music or entertainment at this point?
Again, it's still the same. It wasn't not a pause, not anything. It was just really, you know, waiting till the next thing that made sense to do came about. And if that didn't come about again with Sean Starks and doing the label with him, it was a thing that came along and it made sense. And there was good production, it was good music, there was some good value there. So that made
Let's
sense
fast
to
forward
me.
and kind of change lanes a little bit. Gentleman of Style show.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you create or come up with that concept? Right. What was the driving force behind saying I want to do this show or create this show with your business partner and put this show out? What was the thing behind that?
It was, I don't know if you remember, but years ago, we were going through a transition with a lot of black men were getting in trouble. Black men in general were being, you know, villainized. It was just everything about black men was not right.
Right.
So So Baldwin and I, shout out to Ronald Baldwin, he and I talked about it. We had been talking about, just the image of black men, and we needed to change that narrative. And that's something that we kept talking about. We always had conversations about it. So at one point, we just decided we were going to do something about it.
The two of you got together and you said, "Hey, we want to do something, or we
Right.
got to do something."
Hmm.
What led you to this direction? There's so many other things you probably could have done, whether put together a nonprofit, march, um, just a host of different other things. What was leading you down this path?
Honestly, believe it or not, photography played a part in that. I, 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 I think back to it now, but I think that was a piece of it.
And that's something I mean to cut you off, but I forget, and I think people forget that you are actually a photographer based upon you do so many other things, but that is a very good point. By with you saying you were doing the photography piece, so you still there was other things that you could branch out or extend upon that. So that's a very good point. I really never thought about it that way, especially when it comes to the photography piece. That again, so many people probably forget or don't even know that you do. But,
Right.
I got you. Go on.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I was doing photography, I had, of course, access to a camera, which also did video. And so at that moment, the thought was, what can we do? And so since I had the camera, I said, well, maybe we can do something video wise to be able to bring a positive spin or positive attention to black men. And so that's really
now
what
at this
started.
point, when the two of you make the decision that you were going to do a show, had you done a lot of videography? Had you created any real content at that point?
Well, we had created content before. We had done a movie before. We actually did a short film before.
Oh, hold on. Let's hold on. Let's go back to that. So you and Baldwin had already created a short film before.
Yeah. We
Okay.
we created a short
What was the
film
name of the film?
called The Envelope, and so
The
it's out.
Envelope.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's out there
Is
somewhere.
it still out there?
It's out there somewhere. It's out there
It is?
somewhere.
Okay. I have to go
And
check that out. See what you guys did. Okay.
yeah, check it out. So we created that. So once we created that, the intention was to always do something more with that because we
So
had
you
done
had
it.
some knowledge, but really
Very limited, very small.
you hadn't honed your skills or you hadn't taken any
Mhm.
classes or any
None of
formal training at that point.
None of that.
Okay.
We just had a passion and we just tried it out and we did it. And so when we fast forward to now, the new knowledge that I had, technology was different, the whole nine. We started with a camcorder back in the day, and this was new
Man,
technology.
You said a mouthful. Will and desire, and also the willingness or ability to want to be good at something or be better or be the best at something is a very big thing, right? It's a very big thing because when you want to be good at something, you will study, you will ask questions, you will get that information from somewhere to continue to be better or to get better or to be at the top if that's what your expectation is.
That's
You're
your
absolutely
passion,
right
yeah.
about that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we went with it, and I took a trip down to Atlanta.
That's crazy.
And the show was born. We came up with the name while I was driving to Atlanta, and then when I got to Atlanta, we shot it, and didn't like what we shot the first time around, and said, "Hey, I'll be back next weekend, and we'll reshoot." And then we had the new concept, and we just kept talking about
the format. Didn't have guests at all, correct?
No, the original
Right.
format didn't have any guests at all. It was just us doing kind of tutorials and trying to help people or help men on a professional level be professional in their attire and their dress.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then we kind of revamped it and said we need to expand it and let people tell their stories. And I think that was the
Who
best
was the
decision
actual
we made.
first guest on the Gentleman Style Show? Do you remember that? I know it's been a while, but do you remember?
Of course, I remember that. Come on, man. Our first guest was Hassan Green, one of the most talented brothers I know. Yeah. So
Big shout out to Hassan Green. big shout out to the brother. He's doing his thing now. He got
Absolutely.
new music out. Go check him out. We appreciate you. We got to have him back on the show. Absolutely, got to get you back on the show, Hassan, to catch up on where you are now, some of the things that you're doing. So definitely a big shout out and a big salute to
Yeah.
Hassan.
Shout out to Hassan Green. Absolutely. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Okay. Now you guys have got the show. So you and Baldwin have the show. You created the show. When it first comes out, how was it received?
Um. Hmm. Well, it was actually received. I mean, it was received pretty well. I think a lot of people were confused about what we were doing, which was part of what we weren't trying to confuse people, but we wanted to intrigue people. We wanted people to want to know what is really going on. So that was our concept. That was part of the marketing for that. So when we first dropped, we dropped teasers instead of dropping real promos. We kind of dropped teasers so that people would try to visualize like what are they doing. A lot of people thought we were selling suits, of course. A lot of people uh, didn't have a clue what we were really doing. They knew we were doing something. They were like, oh, they're them two right there. They up to something again. It was that type of thing, but it was well received for the most part once people realized exactly what we were doing. So it wasn't a bad reception at all. It was one of those things where people had to get used to you doing something that you hadn't done before. So overall, uh, there wasn't a lot of negativity to it. I think we have more negativity now than we did when we started, probably. Yeah, so that was
You know
pretty
what?
much it, and that's how that worked.
You make a valid point because as I looked through that material, it was it was something that it was intriguing because at the point nobody knew exactly what the Gentleman Style show was, and people even to this day, I'm guessing you still get this, but even to this day, people see the two of you and the show, and the first thing they think about is suits. Right? So they don't necessarily. Some people
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, still get it.
miss the point of it all, meaning sharing the information of other people, and they're just fixated on the suits. And there's not a lot that you can do about that, but it is a testament to the fact that
At all.
you guys put a lot of attention to detail into a lot of different things, including the clothing. But it's one of those things that it I guess it solidifies the Gentleman Style brand piece of it. It's that style part is there and it's solidified. So I think that is a great thing. But I'm hoping that other people also get the message of the things that the guests are saying and the different information that they're trying to give out. Right. I definitely want to applaud you and Baldwin for one being consistent with it, continuing to do it, and making sure that people who have different types of stories have another place that they can go and tell their stories without being censored or without having to feel like I've got to be a certain way or I have to do certain things a certain way. I think you guys do a very good job at giving those outlets and making sure that not only we see some of the more well-known people or some of the more uh, known followers or influencers, but also some of the people that you may not know that live maybe next door in your backyard, but they're doing great things in business and careers and entrepreneurship and all those things. So I think you guys do a great job with the Gentleman Style Show.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate that.
Are there any things since you guys started the show? Are there any things or things that have come about because of the show, or that are extensions of the show?
Absolutely. I mean, so many things. The cigar brand, Baldwin Creech Premiums. Um,
Right.
What else?
Okay.
Acting. It's just
Oh,
so
yeah.
many different things.
Baldwin Creech
that,
Premiums. Go
um,
check them out if you haven't checked out the Baldwin Creech Premiums.
Yeah.
Go get them. You can get them from the website. You can contact Creech or Baldwin
Yeah,
directly,
absolutely.
and get you some Baldwin and Creech premiums in your line. Very good cigar. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So many different things, but I don't even know. Like I said, the acting piece of it, and just the
okay,
connections that we
yeah,
met.
that's you bring up another something else. Acting. And I know you
Yeah.
said that when you were younger you did a couple of plays here and there.
Mhm.
Was that something that you knew that you wanted to do as well at some point in time, or was that something that was just an opportunity that presented itself?
It was an opportunity through connections, just having connections with people. And Sean Starks, hit me up and was like, "Hey, man, I got an opportunity. You interested? You want to do this?" And it was kind of like, hmm,
Another shout
yeah,
out to Sean Starks. Most
shout out to
definitely.
him. So I'm thinking like, okay, why not? Let me, take my time and my opportunity to go ahead and try this out and look at the
Man,
connection.
bro, you are so right. Relationships and connections are
Yeah,
everything, not just in personal, but in business. Those relationships and
yeah,
connections that you make, those things can be invaluable to you because
absolutely.
those are the things that get you the
The
next
next
thing
thing.
or show you something that you didn't even know that could exist for
Yes.
yourself. And I think that is one of the things that has been really cool for me to watch that journey and see you do these different
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
definitely.
So yeah. So that's how that came about, and I've done some other projects with him, and got offered some newer projects, and been in another project.
Okay.
So
Okay.
um,
So we can look forward to seeing you in some new things
hopefully,
coming up.
hopefully,
All
hopefully
right.
that works. All those things work out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So
Definitely cool. Now that we've gotten all the way through, so we're up to the acting. So we've gotten through the acting. Let's talk a little bit about management. Meaning, okay, we talked about the earlier management. As I understand it, you're managing again. How did you how did you come full circle, so to speak? How did you get back to managing?
actually through TikTok. Uh,
Oh,
believe it.
not to mention, first of all, tell everybody who you're managing. Let me start there because I want to. Then you could tell the story of how that evolved.
I'm managing artist
Yeah.
T Marsh.
Shout out to
Right.
T
So
Marsh. Talented,
yes,
talented, talented,
talent,
talented,
great
talented.
artist. So
Boom.
I'm managing T Marsh. I met her actually on TikTok. Believe it or not. Um, kind of a crazy story. But I was on TikTok and I was, scrolling and just looking and just
Hold up.
it
Hold
just
on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. So you met T Marsh on
yeah,
TikTok? Are you kidding me?
not at all. On TikTok, I was scrolling and
Had never met her before. No connection. No
nah,
nothing.
nah, not at all.
And you hear her on TikTok, and in theory, the rest is history. Like, are you
Yeah, I'm
serious?
dead serious. I
Wow.
sent her a message on.
Your stories are, I only say that because you have some very unique stories in terms of how things work for
Yeah,
you. The whole putting up the flyers around campus at
I'm an interesting
A&T,
cat. What can I say?
and now this. And I know that's, online is the way of the
Yeah,
world now,
it is.
but meeting an artist of this caliber and eh, next thing you know, you're managing this artist. That's
Timing is everything.
and I know those stories happen, but it's just in this day and age, and knowing you, it's just one of those things where it's like surprising, like
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
So I actually turned it down and said, at first I wasn't going to do it, and I was focusing on doing the video for her.
Yeah,
So it was just one of the things where timing again is everything, and it just kind of felt right, and so I had to look at it from a different perspective without just really passing up on it.
well, personally, I'm glad that you circle back around. I'm glad you gave it some thought
Me
before
too.
you passed
Me
up the
too.
opportunity and moved on. I think the two of you are going to do something great.
God willing.
I've heard the music. The
Yeah.
music is out there and it's phenomenal. She's a great musician, definitely a great
Mhm.
writer. Um, she has that thing, and I believe it's only a matter of time. It's coming. It's closer than you
Oh, I
think it
believe
is,
that.
and I
Absolutely.
think it's closer than she probably thinks it is. But I think the two of you are there. The two of you are
I
there.
appreciate it, man. That, that,
Yes,
that's
most
the hope.
definitely, most definitely.
That is definitely the hope. And, you know, I believe in what we're doing, and we're working hard, and we're trying to bring stuff to all areas from Dallas all the way to New York and everything in between, and definitely ATL, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Now with the Will You video, what was did you did the two of you collaborate on the video, or did she come up with the concept? How did the video process work?
Well, actually, it was a bit of both. We talked about it, so we kind of collaborated on the concept, and then we kind of hashed it out. And you know, we actually had one direction, changed directions, and second direction was the best direction, and you get what you see out there now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go check out the video. Go check it out. Good video.
Personally, I love that video. If you haven't seen the video yet for T Marsh's Will You, go out on YouTube, check it out. It's a good video, very good visual. The song itself is a hit,
Yep.
smash. So go check that out.
Yeah, go check it out. It's doing really well. I think it's up to like 12,000 views.
Any special things coming up with her uh, in the near future? What was there anything that you could talk about?
Yeah, we've got her set for a few big time interviews. We've got her trying to headline some other spots. Definitely trying to get into North Carolina. So a few
Okay.
different things, some things in the works. I'm not going to speak on it
Right.
until something's confirmed. But yeah.
Go support artists,
Yes.
good artists, people out there that are doing it,
Yes.
trying to do it
Yes.
the right
Yes.
way, putting their money where their
Yes.
mouth is, and then giving you quality material. Go out there and support them. Go out there.
It's
and
rough
support 'em.
out here. It's rough out here, man. You know it. So we just trying to, trying.
All right, Raleigh,
Yeah.
Georgia, South Carolina, New York, all these areas, Houston,
All y'all.
Dallas already. Dallas is
All
locked
y'all.
in. T Marsh is performing all over
Yeah.
Dallas.
Make sure you call.
All these other
Call,
places, y'all lock
email,
in.
book. Come on now.
Hit the line. Make sure book T Marsh. You will not be
Book.
disappointed.
A live show is a
Absolutely.
beast.
Absolutely.
Stop playing. Go book. Yeah. That's what we want.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the book. I know a lot of people. You had put out that you were putting out a book some time ago, and then you held on to the book. What happened? Why did you decide not to put that book out?
It was really the timing. I couldn't do what I wanted to do to put it out, and as I got ready to do it,
Timing is everything.
as I got ready to do
True.
it, then the next thing you know, we kind of moved into the pandemic, and the time just never got right, and it just wasn't.
And that's the one thing I could say about you. When you want to do something, you have a vision and you have a
Yeah.
way of wanting to do it. And
That's me.
it's just you. There's just a way that you like to do things. It's just the you way. And so I can respect it, and I know you. And if you have that vision and you can't do a piece of that vision, or the vision doesn't come together, especially with that type of project, I get it.
Yeah, so I'll wait, and so that's what I did. So the book is complete. I tweaked it a little bit because
Like, can we expect it sometime soon, or is that one of those things where it's
it's coming.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
coming. I'm looking at trying to figure the thing that I want to do, I want to
Well,
get
you
that
know, I
done.
always like a good affair,
Yeah,
especially if I can put on some nice clothes and see some nice women dressed up and looking
all that,
classy. Hey, I'm
all that,
always in. I'm always there for it.
all that. So when I
Absolutely.
can get all that together and put it together,
Absolutely.
then I'm going to
Personally,
put
my
it out.
brother, I think it's going to be a success. I know your heart, and given, uh, you know, the subject matter of what you're trying to convey and hopefully inspire from others, I
Always.
think it'll be pretty successful for you. So,
Thank you.
good luck with
Appreciate it.
that when you finally put it out and let the world get to know you even a little bit better, even though it's
Yeah.
just a piece of your life. I think it's something that's warranted to be put out there for people to kind of take some of that in and take it and be, like I said, be inspired by it.
I hope
Like I
so.
said, I've
I
known you for a
really hope
long
so.
time, and I know the pieces of your journey, and I know that period of that piece of your journey was one of those that was definitely a a a place where you had to rebound from, and I know how hard it was for you to go through certain pieces in that time. So definitely can't wait to read the book and just see just see you be transparent about the situations. All right.
Thank you, man.
All
Appreciate
right.
that. Really do, really do.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. But I'm just
Yeah,
really trying to
I'm
hit on a
good.
lot of different things about you, of course, and make sure that we give the people some of the information maybe they just didn't know about you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you: is there anything that you would want to, or anything that you would like people to know about you in terms of just you as a person?
For me, I think it would be a couple of things. One is my will and my faith, and then the other piece would be the ability not to dwell or hold on to anything, the ability to figure it out, move through it, and get past it. And I get that from three women in my life. My mother, who was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 7 or 10 years old, and it was supposed to be terminal. God willing, she's still here today. My daughter, born prematurely for open heart surgery, then my grandmother, who had to deal with my mother going through that and trying to raise me at the same time. So those are the things, like I said, and getting through it.
Yeah, and that's a
Um,
trademark. Well, I won't call it a trademark to you. I'm sure that people have that same thought process. But the one thing I've always known about you over the last decade or so is that you are not that person that is going to dwell or hold on to something, because for you it's the I've got other work to do. I only have a certain amount of time. I've got work to do. And so now that you kind of gave that little summary, and I mean, I want you to elaborate a little more, but now that you started this, this information and kind of expressing this about, about your mom, about your daughter, about your grandmother, it really makes a lot more sense now from a standpoint of understanding why you tend to, not dwell or not stay in some type of negative,
yeah.
you know, just a negative cloud. It's, you want to break through that and move on to the next thing and try to keep it positive. But go on. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to say that because I think it was important to acknowledge the fact that, you know, there are things and people that shape us, and it's not always just as a child. Through life, things shape us. But go on.
But yeah, I
Finish up.
mean, like I was saying, it's just really understanding that, looking at those women and the things that they had to endure. When it comes to me, I tend not to dwell on anything or hold anything in, because if it feels petty to me, then it probably is. And I know for other people it may be important to them, but then I have to, and I know it's not always a good way to do it, but I ask myself, is it life or death? Is it
Yeah,
really that
gotcha.
important? And so for me, if it's not, then I'm able to handle my business, do what I need to do, and I need to move through that, especially if it's a negative situation, or something that is going to hold you in a negative space. That's just not where I want to sit or ever want to be. And so I'm just prone to try my best to move through things and do it the best way that I can and cope with it and try to do it with a sense of um, empathy if I need to be, or a sense of urgency if I need to have that, or whatever the situation may call for. So that's just me. That's who I am. I'm not without empathy, but I am without that mode of just being stuck in, and feeling bad, or feeling negative, or allowing things or people to put me in spaces that I don't want to be. So that's just me. And I hope for those who go through things, they find that thing that inspires them. So my mother, my grandmother, and my daughter, and not that other people don't, but those three.
Definitely, those three ladies have. Wow, that's. I mean, those are stories that. I mean that those are deep, especially when you think about, uh, you know, moms being uh, diagnosed terminally, uh, then you know later on in your life having to deal with the illness of your daughter. So that is a lot, and I can applaud and appreciate what you took from that. A lot of people could be bitter, or be really jaded, or just a lot of different ways and negative with negativity, and you seem to have turned that into a a way not just to cope, but a way to make sure that you don't waste too much time on things that don't really have a true value for you. And I think that's, for me, that's one of the best gifts that you can have as a person, where you don't let people touch your peace, and you don't let negative people touch your peace. We don't let things get in your way and stay in your way. You find a way to move on, and you find a way not to dwell in negativity and dark spaces. So I applaud that. I can't always do that myself, and I know a lot of people who can't. But for those who can, that is a great trait and characteristic to have if you can really do it. And I've seen you for quite some time, and you pretty much live in that space. So I can really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Most definitely. And definitely shout out to Mark Clark. That brother is truly missed. Um, he is and forever will be a brother, a cousin, uh, just that dude that that helped you grow up and helped us grow up. So definitely big shout out to Mark Clark.
My man.
Truly miss, truly miss. So, well, man, I could sit here and probably talk to you for hours and hours and hours, as the song says. But I know you got things to do
Always.
and I just want to say thank you for sitting down, being transparent, sharing a lot of things with us that I'm not sure that a lot of people knew. Some did, some didn't. Um, and we'll probably have to do this again, because I know there's other things that we didn't even touch on. But I think you really at least gave people a sense of who you are, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me. You could have done that with anybody else, but you sat down with me and allowed me to ask these questions, and you answered as candidly as possible. And for me, I'm honored and grateful to have been in this position.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, most definitely. I really appreciate the love and just being able to sit down and tell my story.
My brother, you know what it is. All right. So as we always like to say here at the Gentleman of Style Show, there's no excuse for good taste, because here at the Gentleman of Style Show, we believe in better. So until the next time, we will catch you on the flip side. All right, we out of here. Peace. All right, Max, you ready? Get out of here.